The Capital Director, Daniel Mahlangu, has admitted to the State Capture Commission that he would not have entered into a partnership with inline trading director Masotsha Mngadi had he known his only experience was that of being in a car dealership. Mngadi was also SAA Board Chair Dudumieni's personal advisor. He suggested to Mahlangu that they form a consortium with his company to get an SAA advisory services tender. Mahlangu also told Justice Zondo yesterday that he was not aware of Mngadi's conflict of interest with South African Airways, as he did not ask him. Well, for more on this story, I'm joined in studio by Mbalenhle Mthethwa, my colleague on the economics desk. Thanks very much for joining us, Mbalenhle. So, as usual, these stories are quite convoluted and complex. Mr. Daniel Mahlangu is giving testimony. Just give us the crux of the issues.
Okay. The biggest issue here is that Daniel Mahlangu did not do due diligence on this particular person, and as a result they were awarded a contract with SAA. And while they were doing the work, which was supposed to be transaction advisory services, their license, FSB license, expired. And when this license expired, they did not inform SAA as to that the license had actually expired. And yesterday you heard him say that, they did communicate with SAA and they informed them of an intention by the FSB to terminate, to cancel this FSB license. And then today you hear him talking about how they did in fact inform SAA about this expiration, this license expiring. However, there's no proof of this letter and this communication. And this goes back to what Phumezan Hansi testified before the commission, who was a former CFO at SAA, saying that they never received any communication informing them of this FSB license that had indeed expired. But today he reads through a communication that he says did go through to SAA on the 13th of May 2016. And he says in the letter, obviously, that they never received, is that they informed SAA that they of an intention for the FSB license to be to expire, yes, of course. And they also talk about intentions to get another partner, which is Grisak AG, which is someone we've seen a director from Grisak AG coming in to give evidence before the commission, to come in with a valid FSB license and give them and provide them the funding. At the time, we know that SAA was in the process of trying to secure a 15 billion rand loan to consolidate its debt.
Yes.
Yes.
So okay, their license was going to expire, so why couldn't they just renew it? Wasn't it just a simple case of that?
I'm really not sure as to why they didn't renew it,
yeah,
but the biggest point of contention relating to this is that they then, after their contract was irregularly expanded to include sourcing of funding. So initially when they are contracted to SAA, they are there to do transaction advisory services in this debt consolidation effort that SAA was going under. And then their contract is later expanded without informing the Department of Public Enterprises, obviously, to source this 15 billion rand for SAA, and also at a fee of over 200 million rand. Now, the first witness from the SAA leg, who was a whistleblower, spoke about how even though SAA had needed the funds, they shouldn't have come at such a high cost. But the other point of contention, which is what was discussed today, is the 49.9 million rand cancellation fee that BNP Capital had requested from SAA. And basically, you get that. So what Mahlangu is saying is that there was communication that was sent through to them by Mngadi, and they just have to peruse the document. And in this document, they were basically suggesting that, if SAA were to ever cancel this transaction, this sourcing of funding with BNP Capital, they would have to pay this 50% cancellation fee. And he basically explains to the commission that, he wasn't aware that, they were supposed to pay this even though they hadn't done any work. And we know that this is not improper because the director of Grisak AG also testified that they did not ask for a cancellation fee and they hadn't done any work, and therefore they were not eligible to a cancellation fee. And but unfortunately, the justification that they had used in the communication that was written by Mngadi sent to SAA, one of the reasons that they used to justify this cancellation fee was that Griseg AG had charged them a cancellation fee and that they'd done work. Even though they hadn't done work, they were due to this cancellation fee.
And very quickly, before I let you go, of course, Caesar, the lady Caesar, who was the former acting CEO at SAA, she gave testimony earlier in the week. What was the crux of what she was saying?
So the crux of what Sizagele was, Zimela was actually testifying about, it was about the closure of a route, the Johannesburg-Mumbai route. And she was basically explaining how she felt as though they were pressured by the then Minister of Public Enterprises, Malusi Gigaba, to close this route. And she basically referred to two meetings that took place within the presence of the minister, where they were attacked first by Nareth Goyal, who was an executive from Jet Airways, yes. And he didn't intervene, and the person who actually ended up intervening was the Deputy Minister at the time, Deputy Minister of Public Enterprises. And she was basically saying that this Nareth Goyal was telling them that the decision had already been made and that SAA executives were dragging their feet by not getting off the route. And she's saying that Jet Airways had come to them with a proposal that they needed to vacate the route and terminate their trips to Mumbai, even though the SAA board had resolved not to terminate the route because it was a strategic route and a feeder to their South America route. And he was saying that this decision had already been made by the former CEO of SAA.
All right, Mbalenhle, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. My colleague Mbalenhle Mthethwa reporting on the state capture inquiry for us. Chief Justice